It is a pleasure for me on today to have Comcast RISE, Bill Bronson, who is the Director of Community Impact at Comcast and NBC Universal. So what is community impact? That means Bill is bringing the best of Comcast to you in neighborhoods, in communities, to be a good partner. We are fortunate that Comcast is headquartered right here in Philadelphia, and Comcast does not take that lightly. And so for Bill, you will see that Bill is in the community. He's working with community organizations to bring the best of Comcast to making the quality of life the best that it can be in our great city. So we thank Bill for the work he does for Comcast, and we are especially grateful for Bill coming today to share with you all of the information about Comcast RISE and to answer all of your questions. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to Bill Bronson, Director of Community Comcast, Director of Community Impact at Comcast, and he's going to lead us in this discussion on Comcast RISE. Bill Bronson, take it away, please, sir.
Well, thank you, Marla. I appreciate that intro. I'm going to furiously copy that as my elevator pitch because you said it so eloquently. Lovely. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Does that look good, everybody? We're good to go?
Looks great. We're good to go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. As Marla said, my name is Bill Bronson. I'm a Director of Community Impact for Comcast, and my primary area of responsibility is the state of New Jersey, Southeast Pennsylvania, and Northern Delaware. And so for the past month, I'd say actually 2 months, we've been very busy on this program, Comcast RISE. And so we have an hour together today. I'm happy to stop at any time to answer questions. So if you have a question, just feel free to shout it out loud, and we could also wait till the end. I'm happy to do that as well. So let's get started. What is Comcast RISE? Comcast RISE stands for Representation, Investment, Strength, and Empowerment. This was a program that we started as a company during the pandemic to provide small businesses with the help they needed to survive. If you remember, during the pandemic, businesses were closed, people were staying home. A lot of small businesses in Philadelphia needed a lifeline, and that is what we created this program for. Luckily, the pandemic has abated somewhat, and people are back to frequenting different businesses around the city. And as that situation has evolved, we have also evolved this program. Now the program is focused on helping communities thrive and grow. This year, the program is in 5 cities around the country. The program is in Baltimore, Detroit, Memphis, Portland, and here in Philadelphia. The program has changed a little bit this year versus other years. And so I'd like to tell you what selected businesses who win the grant will be receiving. They'll be receiving 5 items. Consulting. So this is general consulting to provide business owners with recommendations on how to grow their business. Creative production, which is turnkey production of a 30-second television commercial, plus a 180-day media schedule. So we will help you create a commercial and then we'll air it on Comcast and Xfinity. A technology makeover, computer equipment, complementary connectivity, voice and security services for 12 months. Education, we will provide online entrepreneurship courses, learning modules, resources for small business owners, again, to grow their business and really thrive and flourish. And then finally, a $5,000 grant in the form of an ACH payment to a business account. So this will be directly deposited into a checking account. And businesses can use this $5,000 however you want. We don't need a report. We don't want receipts. The $5,000 is yours. You could use it for whatever you need to in order to grow and sustain your business and help however we can. There are some eligibility requirements for RISE that I'd love to tell you about now. The first is that the owner is 18 years of age or older and is the primary decision maker for the business. So if you're 18, you own the business, you're engaged, active day to day, you're eligible to apply. The second is no more than 100 full-time or part-time employees. We have expanded this number over the years. When we first started the program, it was under 30, but now we can have a little bit larger businesses, but we are really trying to target independent small businesses for this. So for example, we wouldn't give the grant, or eligibility would not extend to franchises. So if you have a Dunkin' Donuts or a McDonald's or a franchise operation, you wouldn't be eligible. This is really small independent businesses. The business has to have been established for at least 3 calendar years. The business address has to be in Philadelphia. And we are awarding 100 of these grants. The application window is extending until the 30th. So including this week, there's 3 additional weeks to apply. I think it's 3 weeks from yesterday through the 30th. And then the recipients will be announced on August 22nd, 2023. Does anybody have any questions so far? Great. So what I'm going to do is walk you through at least the first stages of the application so you can see generally what's required. We're not going to go through the whole application. That would take a long time, but we will at least kind of go through what is needed to get started on the application. And then I will give you some kind of tips and tricks for the application itself. So to apply, you would go to ComcastRISE.com and you would hit the Apply Now button. From there, you'll see this screen, which is a little tricky, but you will see some of the information I discussed. If you have never applied to RISE before, then you would come up here to the Sign In button where I put this little red arrow and you click Sign In. That'll take you to this page where you'll register for a new account. It'll ask you to confirm your email address. We're all probably familiar with this product, with this process from all the different accounts we have to create in their daily life. Once you do that, you'll come back to this screen again. You'll come down here to Available Grants, and you'll click this button here that says RISE Application. So a couple of things I want to point out about this screen. The Comcast RISE application is composed of 2 parts. The first is an eligibility criteria form that should take around 5 minutes. And then the second is the application itself, which can take up to an hour. For the eligibility criteria form, it will determine whether you are eligible to continue on to the application and apply. So a lot of the application criteria I just mentioned, it will go through that and ask you, do you live in Philadelphia? Have you been in business for 3 years or more? Do you have 100 employees or less? It'll ask you that type of information. One thing I want to flag here is that once you submit the form, you can't go back and change it. So if you submit the form and it says you're not eligible, you won't be able to go back and reopen the form and try to change things. So it's very important that you will make sure that that is accurate, the eligibility criteria, before you move forward. Once you go through there, you'll go to the application itself. I will put this in the chat, but if you have questions about applying, I'm of course happy to help, and I put my email into the chat, but I will candidly probably take you 3 or 4 days to get back because of my schedule and just bandwidth and capacity. A much better email to reach out to, who are much more expert than I am, is Comcast RISE's support@ey.com. And again, I'll put that email in the chat so you have it, but that is a great email to have, Comcast RISE support@ey.com. So from there, we'll click the RISE application and we'll go into the eligibility criteria form. Now here you will see the application criteria. This is a little bit difficult to view because the type is small and it's a little bit light, but this goes through a lot of the different criteria we already mentioned, plus some additional ones I just want to flag for you. Businesses that are ineligible to apply are nonprofits, chambers of commerce. They have very detailed things like tobacco or vape retailers, illegal products, adult entertainment companies, gun manufacturers. If you're an internet service provider, you're ineligible. So that means if you own a company like Comcast, or if you are a virtual MVPD, that is a little challenging. Not a lot of people know what a virtual MVPD is, and that's a virtual multi-video provider platform. Even I don't know what it stands for. Basically, if you If your business is Disney Plus or Netflix and you own those, you would be ineligible to apply to this grant. And then there are some additional criteria down here. So after reading all these things, if you believe that you're eligible to the application, which I hope everybody is, you can click begin application. Now, there are some documents that you're going to need once you get through the initial eligibility check. We don't ask for a lot of financial information, but we do ask for some. So one of the things that you'll need is your company's W-9. Another thing is the business owner's social security number, or EIN, which I think is employment identification number. And then one of the following items, either your incorporation article, so when you started the business, and that helps us know that the business has been in business for at least 3 years, your official registration or business license, or your EIN, tax ID, and partnership documents. And that is really the extent of documentation you need to complete this application. Now, some people have easier access to these documents than others, but this is really the information that you need in order to move forward. Here is the email I just discussed earlier, Comcast RISE support@ey.com. Again, I will place that in the chat. And I see, Marla, that you already did. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. So this is what the application looks like, or at least the eligibility criteria form. It'll ask you the major market where your business is located and operated, and it's a drop-down menu. So from here, you'd want to say Philadelphia, if in fact your business is located in Philadelphia. If your business is located in Delaware County or Chester County, then unfortunately you would not be eligible for this opportunity. Are you 18 years of age or older? I think we all are. It'll ask you if you're the majority owner. Is your business a charity? Is your business a franchise? Again, if you were to click yes to those, you would be ineligible. If awarded a grant, are you willing to accept electronic payment? Have you ever received a Comcast RISE award? Now, this is important because in the past, Comcast RISE looked a little bit different. You could have received an investment fund monetary grant like the $5,000, or a technology makeover, creative or media award, or a consultation. This year, everything is combined. But if in the past, since 2020 or when the program began, you have received any of these Comcast RISE awards, you are unfortunately ineligible to apply again this year. And so I just want to make that clear for everybody. Once you click this answer and you hit submit, if you are eligible to proceed to the application, you will then see Part A through Part H. Part A is just contact information for the business owner, so name, address, telephone number. Part B is company profile. Part C is demographic information to the extent that you have it. Now, a lot of these are quantitative answers, which are really just drop down yeses or nos, or entering, phone numbers or addresses into dialog boxes. But there are some qualitative information questions where you are having an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about you and your business through essay sections. And these are generally about 2,000 words each, up to 2,000. You certainly don't have to use the whole thing. But about you and your business, when you go there, that will be like a little dialogue box where you'll be able to tell us about you and your business. And so what we really want to know here is, what is your story? What motivated you to begin your business, and why is your business important to you? Why is it important to your family and the community? What is your passion for your business? For community engagement, how do you support the community? That doesn't have to be, I write a check to the local Little League team, or I write a check to, my local food shelter, both of which are very important causes. It could be other things. Maybe you employ different kids from around the community, and it's really important to them, or you're engaged in the community in other ways. I know that there's like a daycare attending the call. Maybe if without your business, people in the community would not be able to go to work during the day because they have small kids. And I have a 2- and a 6-year-old, so I know what that's like. If my children's daycare didn't exist, I don't know what I would do in my life, because it would just be so challenging, and I'm so thankful for them. Then there's promoting diversity and inclusion. How are you creating space for others? How are you making sure that everybody in the community is included and feels eligible to work at your business, and you're creating a inclusive environment. And then finally, the last essay question is growth strategy. This doesn't have to be like a Harvard business case study of how you're going to grow your business. It could be like, what is your strategic vision for your business? What are your long-term goals? Maybe you really like where your business is located, but you want to move into a larger space in 3 or 4 years and hire additional people. Maybe there's other components. Maybe right now you own a hair cutting salon, but you also could see in the future that you expand it and include like a barber shop or a different space. So this is really just, what is your vision of how you foresee your business growing and really being an asset of the community around you. From there, you'll go on to business proof and payment requirements, which is a lot of the documents that we already discussed. And then obviously your bank account, so we can direct deposit the check, so we're not sending a check in the mail that gets lost or you don't receive it or there's an issue. So that is really the application process of itself. I believe it automatically saves. And for the bottom part, you can begin it and then come back to it because you'll have your account. So you don't have to complete it all in one go. You could really take your time with it. And again, I stress this a lot, but if you have any technical questions about the application, or it's not working in your browser correctly, or if you have questions about what to put here, what to put there, Comcast RISE support at ey.com is your best bet. I have a couple more things I want to say, but I think I'll just pause there to see if there's any additional questions or feedback.
For those on the call, don't be shy. This information is what you don't get when you just apply straight through the website. I mean, it's good to apply directly to the website, but this information that Bill has just provided it gives you something that you cannot get just on the website. It gives you more insight. So it sounds like Comcast really wants to know how you feel about your business. What's your vision for the business? When you started your enterprise, what did you envision it being? And oftentimes, what a business owner envisions turns out to be something very different. And so they want to know that, because that kind of information is what is going to compel Comcast to make the award of $5,000, to make the technology investment in your company. If you're a hair salon, how can you bring technology into a personal services business? How can you make it more efficient for your customers, for you as the owner, for the various operators that are in your business? You're making furniture. So how do you track your inventory? How do you track the materials that you're buying? How do you track if you're selling to a showroom on commission? How do you track all of that information? It's all based on technology. Childcare. How are you tracking the children's needs? Which child has an allergy? Do they have physicians? Are they on medications? We know the testing and the scores, but what's some of that other information? And so technology is here to stay, and it's coming at us very quickly. And so I'll tell you from a PIDC perspective, during the height of the pandemic, when there was so much Small Business Administration money with the Paycheck Protection Program, there were so many small businesses that did not access that money. Why? Because they didn't have the right technology. Just that simple. Didn't have the right technology. So here we have the big dog in technology, Comcast RISE, working with you. So don't be shy, ask your questions, put them in the chat, raise your hand, we'll unmute you, ask Bill anything that you want.
So I did see some questions come in the chat. The first is that, yes, it's 100 businesses per city. So there will be 100 businesses awarded in Philadelphia. It's not 100 businesses spread across the country. It's 100 in Philadelphia. Now, how important is the community engagement piece? The community engagement piece is just one out of multiple answers, but we judge these applications holistically. And when I say we, I also want to mention to everybody that to avoid any appearance of impropriety, Comcast is not judging these applications. Comcast does not review the applications to select a winner. A third party does that. We have no insight into who the winners are going to be. We find out a day before everybody else does, but they judge the applications holistically. The community engagement piece is a part of that. But I did want to make that clear that I am not sitting, at my desk reviewing applications, selecting which ones receive it. I have really no insight into that. As to what technology could Comcast offer a hair salon, for example? Well, one is complimentary connectivity, voice, and security for 12 months. So if you're paying for service right now and you want to get free service for a year, that's one piece of it. It's business class Wi-Fi. So if you want to install like a Wi-Fi router in your hair salon so that guests who come can browse their mobile devices or their tablets, you can do that. Also computer equipment, if you wanted to replace your point of sale equipment, or if there was other types of equipment, that would be something. So, I don't have all the answers for that. That would really be part of a dialogue between you and our folks at Comcast Business. But I'm sure that at the very least, with the complimentary service, you could hopefully save some resources there that you would be expending on that. If your business is in Philadelphia and you're from Philadelphia, but you reside in New Jersey, yes, you would still qualify. As long as the business is in Philadelphia, you're eligible for the program. I do want to mention that among the other eligibility requirements for the program, which I'm not sure I touched on, but is very important, is that your business is a brick and mortar business. So unfortunately, but I want to make this clear, virtual businesses and home-based businesses are currently not eligible to apply, at least for RISE 2023. Now, we acknowledge and are aware that there are thousands of businesses in Philadelphia that are virtual or home-based, and maybe they are home-based, but people will go to Roosevelt Park or another park in the city every Saturday and they'll set up shop. And so we're trying to figure out maybe how we would incorporate those folks, later on, maybe in a further year. But as of right now, it's really brick and mortar shops, and the reason for that is that technology component. We have to figure out how we would leverage that technology makeover for a virtual business or a home-based business. The applications are in fact reviewed by an actual person. It's not just a computer using AI software to look at every line in your application and select different things. We do have actual people reviewing the applications and considering them. I don't know how many applications so the question is, how many applications for Philadelphia did you have in 2022, and how many do you expect this year? I believe last year in Philadelphia, and I don't know the exact number, so I'm hesitant to say without knowing, but there was definitely several hundred applications. And we probably expect that the same this year. So not everybody who applies and successfully completes the application is going to receive the award. It is based on a number of things, including kind of what I just talked through, the strength of those questions that you put, and other things like that. So unfortunately, not everybody who applies will receive it. But if you do apply, you do have a very good shot at receiving it. There's not 50,000 applications and you're one of them and you have a 0.008% of receiving it. You have a very good chance of receiving it, but not everybody who applies will get it. Hope that answered your question, Graham. Are there any other questions?
Other questions, comments, feedback? One of the things that I like, Bill, is that the applications are going to EY. Because I've had the opportunity to work with EY in some other initiatives, And it is so, people think of it as just Ernst and Young, but Ernst and Young has built out a diverse division that focuses on diversity. It focuses on small businesses. So I've had the good pleasure of being in some meetings as they discuss their outreach, their initiatives. And so I think it is a good thing that Comcast knows what it's good at. How about that? So Comcast is good at communications, it's good at television and entertainment, but maybe this particular area, maybe they're not the best. They're good at it, but maybe they're not the best. And so they have gone out to seek who are the best partners that we can engage to help us in this initiative. And so congratulations to Comcast for recognizing the outstanding work that Ernst & Young is doing in diversity and helping for EY to put its eyes on the applications. So hopefully that helps all the applicants to know you're not just going to a black hole somewhere in the outer space. Your application is going to an organization that has built out diversity and is leading this effort across the country. You know, again, I've had the chance to work with them.
Great.
Go ahead,
And
Bill.
EY does not have access to our billing system, so nobody is going to say, well, this business has been a Comcast customer for 10 years, so therefore let's give them the benefit of the doubt with the grant versus this other business that, gets its business services through another internet service provider. They don't have any of that information. So they are completely agnostic, whether you have never done business with Comcast in the past or whether you're a current customer. And we wanted it that way, again, to avoid any appearance of favoritism or impropriety. They are simply judging the applications based on their merits. And as Marla said, they are really good at doing it, very thoughtful. And they have people who really know the city and are stakeholders in the city.
Any questions? Again, I'm really glad that Bill has taken the time to talk about the application and what it's going to take. And remember, it's going to take about an hour because Comcast wants you to be really thoughtful about your responses. This is not just fill in the blank and hit submit. We want you to be very thoughtful about your business. And again, these are things that you already know that some of the applications may not ask of you, but Comcast wants to know, how did you get started? What made you get started? What's your vision for this? And I would even dare say, what have been some of the challenges in realizing your vision? So sometimes you have a vision and then life happens. And all of a sudden there are some barriers, unexpected instances, occurrences. And all of a sudden what you thought it was going to be, it has turned out very differently. So you can talk about some of those challenges and how this grant and the technology assistance is going to help you get your business back on track, get you back to that vision that you originally had, help you recapture all of that. And again, as you are helping in your community, where would your community be if your company wasn't available to provide those services? Would they have to go to another part of town? Would they have to take a bus or a train? Are you in walking distance? So are you hiring people from the community? So as Bill said, it doesn't always have to be that you're writing a check to help a softball league or a soccer league. Sometimes you just hire from the community. So think about all of those things. We're so glad that you could join us today. Again, we're going to have another information session on the 22nd, which is really next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, because then the application deadline is June 30th. So my suggestion is take all of this information that Bill provided today, look at the application, think about your responses before you just start writing. And then if you still have some questions that you want answered, because once you start looking at the application, you may really get some questions. So you'll have another opportunity to come back on this Thursday and ask Bill those questions and then complete your application before you hit submit for the last time. So questions, if we've gone until 1 o'clock, but I don't want to hold you. If there are no more questions, no more comments, Bill, if you have thought of anything, thank you for, Bill just put into the chat a 1-pager. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. If there are no more questions, Amy, Deborah, Graham, Vicki, Teresa, let us know if you have any other questions. If not, then you get, what do people say? You get 23 minutes back.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. Marla, thank you so much to you and PIDC for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. And we look forward to seeing everyone on next Thursday if you need our help. And remember, there is an email address in the chat where if you have questions that you can send them to Comcast RISE support. Put it back here. Comcast RISE support at ey.com. Right. So with that, thank you, everyone. Have a great Tuesday, a great week, and we wish you the best in this initiative. We want to hear back from you when you've gotten notification in August, late summer, about $5,000 and a technology makeover. And if not, and let me say, I'll add this also. One of the things that we know about Comcast is if you don't get selected for this round, we know that Comcast is always thinking about ways and new initiatives. So if it's not today, I can guarantee you Comcast is thinking about something else it can do in the future. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bill. And we look forward to seeing everyone soon. Make sure you go to the PIDC website and see what other webinars we have upcoming. And please make sure you go to our website again, sign up for the newsletter, and follow us on social media. Take care. See you, everyone. Bye.